Hello, welcome to 4 Minutes Closer to God. My name is Doug. Last time we talked about cosmic geography, why land on Earth is important to God. So he, for example, created the Garden of Eden as a place where he could meet with humanity. It became the Earth's sacred center. Then we get Tower of Babel, where humans rebelled against God's plan, and he forced them to spread out across the known world then. What came of that was that he allotted in Deuteronomy 32 that sons of God would be given the different nations, but they instead led people into idolatry. So that is shown in Psalm 82, where he judges those sons of God for their malfeasance with the nations they were given charge over. So we have in cosmic geography Jesus coming to win back that land that was lost and regain those sacred centers. So we have an idea of sacred geometry in 1 Samuel 5. The Ark of the Covenant of God was taken into the temple of Dagon. And so the priests leave it in there, and when they return the next day, Dagon is face down in the dirt. So they set him back up again, and it keeps getting worse and worse for this statue of Dagon, the fish god, until he's left with no head and parts of his body taken away. And so the priests, recognizing that God is more powerful than their God, refused to step over the threshold into the temple because that land was sacred to Yahweh. We also see this sort of thing in 1 Samuel 26, where David laments being driven from Yahweh's land or inheritance by Saul, and he feels cut off from proper worship of the Lord outside of Israel's borders. So the land was special to David, and he felt closer to God there when he was in Israel. Also, we have a similar thing when Naaman the Syrian is coming to meet the prophet Elisha, and he is told by the servant of Elisha, Gehazi, to just go dip himself 7 times in the Jordan River. And he resists that opportunity, but his servant says, well, why not? We're here. And because he was healed and he came out like baby skin when he was cleansed of his leprosy, he asked to take dirt from Israel back to his place in Syria so he would have holy ground to worship the Lord God on. When we get to the New Testament, we have Jesus taking his disciples up to Caesarea Philippi. There is Mount Hermon, the highest place in the region there. And at the bottom of that are the gates of Hades. It's a stronghold for mythological Greek god Pan and others, but also it was a cave-like structure that went deep into the earth. And so it was understood to be the actual gates to the underworld. So there, Jesus, in talking with Peter, Jesus asked, "Who do you say I am?" Simon Peter answered, "You are the Christ, the Son of the living God." Jesus replied, "Blessed are you, Simon, son of Jonah, for this was not revealed to you by flesh and blood, but by my Father in heaven. And I tell you that you are Peter, Petros, and on this rock, Petra, I will build my church, and the gates of Hades will not prevail against it." One of the main things is that Jesus takes his disciples to this ground zero of cosmic rebellion, because the rebel angels who came and spoiled earth and the genetics therein in Genesis 6, 1-4, that is the place where they started this whole cosmic rebellion. And it is a site of pagan power in the shadow of the mountain, and this cave that symbolized the domain of death and rival spiritual forces. So the gates of Hades that he is referring to is not a generic reference to hell or Satan's domain. It evokes the literal and symbolic underworld entrance at Caesarea Philippi. The gates are defensive structures, so Jesus is launching an offensive assault against the powers of death and spiritual strongholds of the region, which cannot withstand his power. And he goes after his death into the depths of Hades, so to speak, and proclaims his victory over those very angels, fallen angels, who were on Mount Hermon. So he is reclaiming territory that was lost to the evil forces and will be finally won outright at his second coming.